Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. This is JB.
And I'm Chandler, and this is the Unbiased Hard Take.
And on today's Unbiased Hard Take, as always, me and JB want to wrap up Week 16 in the NFL. However, before we start, I must mention that me and JB aren't feeling the best this week. I have come down with a cold, and JB has a sore tooth. But the show must go on. So with that, JB, what's one thing from Week 16 that you want, one game that you want to talk about?
Oh, well, there's a few games that comes to my mind. The Pittsburgh Steelers, we skunked out the Cincinnati Bengals. We went 34-11. Or we can talk about the troubling Kansas City Chiefs. And that is probably the game that I am going to talk about. With the Kansas City Chiefs, have their high-powered offense, how they're playing right now, they're not looking good. In my opinion, they're not looking good at all. Patrick Mahomes is putting up okay numbers. It's just what's surprising to me is that the Raiders offense they barely even passed, and they still won the game. Aiden O'Connell went 9 for 21, 62 yards. Only 62 yards. Because I think is what I was told, I think what I seen, it's like they didn't even pass either in the second half or in the fourth quarter. They just ran the ball the majority of the time. Zamir White had 22 carries, 145 yards. And then if we just keep going down the line, I was just looking at the score, it's like, how in the heck did they score 20 points with no offensive touchdowns? And then I look, a 1 interception touchdown and a fumble recovery for a touchdown. And that is probably what ruined the Kansas City Chiefs, is those two right there. Yes, Patrick Mahomes still put up 27 for 44, 235 yards, 1 touchdown, and that 1 interception that went for a pick 6. And Tommy Townsend looking like a quarterback. I mean, he's probably the next Patrick Mahomes when he leaves. Probably, I don't know. Or whenever he gets hurt, Tommy Townsend is coming under center. Because that looked like a dime when he threw that. Yeah, Isaac Pacheco also had that one rushing touchdown. But yeah, even he had that fumble with a loss, and they returned it for a touchdown. But I'm gonna say the Las Vegas Raiders has stepped up on some big games lately. Their defense was looking amazing, especially with the Kansas City Chiefs, but also with the San Diego Chargers. That offense was high powering against the Chargers, but I don't want to say that they were high powered against the Chiefs, but their run game, they pounded that rock. They pounded they were in the trenches that game. Yeah, 157 total yards. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say the Kansas City Chiefs are in shambles right now, or they're missing Tyreek Hill and all of their other key players. Travis Kelce has been terrible for a while, or for the past few games. Rashee Rice only caught 50% of his passes. I think they're missing Tyreek Hill a lot more than what they think they're doing. So, I mean, the record says for itself. They're 9-6. They're 4-4 at home. Let's also get that straight. 4-4 at home at Arrowhead, one of the most loudest stadiums in the NFL, and they're 4-4. That boggles me. But yeah, I don't think Kansas City is going far in the playoffs this year. I'm gonna say it right now. They're not going far. The way that they're playing now, they're not going far.
I 100% agree with you. Regarding Kansas City, those 2 defensive touchdowns by the Raiders were actually back-to-back. The fumble happened and then literally the next play they threw the pick six. So you look at Kansas City, they actually have one of the top defenses in the National Football League. So I'm not going to sell my Chiefs stock yet. They're still probably going to win the division. They have a winning record no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, their offense is just in shambles. They don't have any wide receivers at all. They thought, like I said before, that plug and play whoever. And now they don't have Tyreek Hill. They don't even have Juju Smith-Schuster anymore. So they don't have anyone. They have Rashid Rice
Mm-hmm.
and Kadarius Toney. They have garbage receivers, and now it's starting to show. They got to pull it together. I'm not going to sell it yet because anything can happen in the NFL. They do still have Pat Mahomes. They still do have Andy Reid. They have Travis Kelce. They have a top defense. So if they can figure it out, even to a point where they're scoring 25 points a game, I think they'll be fine. There's a reason they're not my Super Bowl pick this year. San Francisco is. I'll talk about them here in a minute, but I agree with you. Kansas City is definitely a little more vulnerable than previous.
Yep. Because with looking at this, they only scored 4 less than 20 points in the last 4 games.
Right, so their offense is the problem. Their defense
Actually,
is what's keeping them in games.
3. They went 27 points against the Patriots, so that's my fault. But yeah, the last 3 of the 4 games they scored under 20 points. So I don't. I mean, it's a little. I want to say it's a little weird for me to look at it, but I mean, yes, they're probably going to go over 10 wins because they got the Bengals this week and they got the Chargers game, which is to be announced still. So that's a definitely probably 2 wins right there. So they're going to go over 10 wins, but they're playing sloppy football.
They absolutely are. And you never know, they might lose. We thought they'd beat the Raiders, and they didn't.
Yep, that is true. That is true.
But speaking of teams who did not score 20 points, one game I'm going to talk about is the Baltimore San Francisco game. San Francisco was my Super Bowl pick, and they still are. I still think they want to win the whole thing. I'm not bailing on them because it seems like whenever Brock Purdy has one bad game, everyone likes to just jump on that hate wagon. And I don't really understand why. Because the dude's had plenty of good games this year. Now, yes, he played like crap against Baltimore, and Baltimore has one of the best defenses in the league, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, he did throw 4 interceptions, 255 yards, 18 for 32. So he did not play good. He did not play good on any stretch of the mean. They actually threw Sam Donald out there, and he went 8 for 14 for 81 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So San Francisco had 5 total interceptions thrown between Purdy and Sam Darnold. That's not good. But you look at what Baltimore's been able to do. Their defense, wow. Their defense is playing like that old Baltimore defense with Ray Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
And you look, Lamar's playing at a great pace right now. 252 yards, 2 touchdowns. Passing all for him. He also had 45 rushing yards. Zay Flowers, 72 yards, 1 touchdown. But like I said, you look, 5 interceptions. Holy mackerel. You look,
Yeah.
San Francisco actually had more total yards. San Francisco actually had more passing yards. San Francisco actually had more rushing yards and better yards per play. The difference is that defense.
Mm-hmm.
Defense still matters in today's National Football League. This year's Baltimore Ravens prove it. Lamar Jackson is not the league MVP. He has less passing yards than Jordan Love, less passing touchdowns than Jordan Love. Yeah, if you add his rushing in there, he has over 4,000 yards. Lamar Jackson, to me, is second for MVP this year behind Christian McCaffrey. It's a no-brainer. But you look at some of the bet sporting books, Lamar Jackson is the number 1 bet to be the favorite. I don't understand how, but we'll get that into a different topic. So long as Baltimore stays healthy, man. AFC probably looking like it's going to go through Baltimore right now. I don't see them losing. They could very well go the whole way this year.
Mm-hmm. I believe so. But yeah, Brock Purdy, he had some terrible games. But yet he always Brock Purdy always finds the way of finding the way to get back into his rhythm. So I'm not selling my stock with the San Francisco 49ers at all.
No.
I mean, their record says it all. I mean, Baltimore, they're playing heck of a football. Their
Yes.
offense is being high power. And I thought with all the receivers and everything, all the people that are getting hurt with the receivers that have history of being injured. So far, I really haven't seen Odell but actually being on the injury list in a while. So I mean, props to him. But I mean, it is almost playoff time, so anything could happen.
Hopefully he can stay healthy.
Hopefully, he can stay healthy. But yeah, Zay Flowers, he's becoming a pretty big playmaker ever since I sponsored him, or I wouldn't say bad things, but I kind of told him to learn to catch the ball ever since the Steelers game. Yeah, and ever since then he's been one heck of a player so far. Um he's been that guy, and one person is actually kind of sticking out, almost like a sore thumb, is Isaiah Likely. With
Yes.
Mark Andrews being hurt, being on IR, Isaiah Likely has slowly been creeping. He's been a sore thumb for that for a while, for that Ravens defense or offense. Sorry, but he's been sl- low key been being that guy lately.
I absolutely agree. But me and JB are going to move on to week 17 in the NFL. Excuse me, my God. Like I said, don't feel the best today. With week 17, you look, JB's done some catching up. There's only a difference now. Well over 200 games played. I had a rough week last week. I was 8-8. Your boy JB was 11-5. Out of all the games we were, he got them all right. So, like I said, I always seem to get a little separation, and JB always seems to kind of creep his head right around the corner again to remind me that there is no room for comfort. So,
Nope.
my game's on this week. We'll see. As you can see, JB is 145-95. I am 149-91. So, the race for free DoorDash continues. So, with that, who do you got tomorrow night, JB? The New York Jets or the Cleveland Browns? This is in Cleveland, the Dog Pound.
um, but there's honestly probably going to be a no brainer on this one. It's going to be the Cleveland Browns. I mean that offense with Joe Flacco. I mean it's been rolling. I mean they haven't even stopped ever since Joe Flacco has been under center. Yeah, they've been a force to reckon with. So yeah, give me the Browns.
I absolutely agree with you. And here's one of the biggest reasons I agree with you because Zach Wilson is out and Trevor Siemian is starting. That's number one. Trevor Siemian is horrendous. He is not the guy. He is not going to be able to play well against that Browns defense. Myles Garrett's going to have a field day with Trevor Siemian.
Mm-hmm.
So you look what the Browns did. My God. I mean, you look at Amari Cooper, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11 catches. Amari Cooper was balling against Houston,
Mm-hmm.
and I picked Houston. That was a mistake. So I'm not making that mistake again. I think Cleveland wins. The Jets, Trevor Siemian has been a quarterback carousel all year long. They've been on and off. They're eliminated from the playoffs. Cleveland's still fighting for seeding and whatnot. So yeah, give me Cleveland. All right. Moving to Saturday football. There's been a lot of Saturday games this year. I like it. Who do you
Mm-hmm.
got? This is a good one. The Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I don't think that Detroit Lions doesn't have anything to lose at this point. They already clinched. They're already in the playoffs. They got that bye week. Um, I think they got that bye week right because even though they already or San Francisco already clinched the yeah the I think the Detroit Lions does have that bye week.
Only the number one seed gets a bye.
Are they the number one seed? Hold on.
Remember, I think it. No, that still belongs to San Francisco, my friend.
Mm, yeah, there's
There can,
Philadelphia,
yeah,
San Francisco, and the Detroit Lions are all 7-4.
But San Francisco owns a tiebreaker.
Wait, Z. Oh, they clinched the division. Okay. All right, so that's my fault. I thought they got that bye week. That is
Eh,
my fault.
they're tied, so sort of.
Yeah, three-way tie. But since they already clinched they already clinched their division, I really honestly they really got nothing to lose. Um, I don't know if they're gonna take out majority of their starters on offense and defense. Maybe get some reps here and there just to get that rest going. But I'm probably gonna pick the Dallas Cowboys on this one because they got a lot of fight to do. Um, they I don't. I was just in this on all the standings so far, and I was out. So yeah, they did clinch. They clinched the playoff berth. So really, no team has nothing left to lose right now, other than who's gonna get the bye week. So far, I mean, but yeah, I'm probably still gonna pick Dallas, even though that was probably the wrong pick for me, honestly, because I have that gut feeling that Detroit Lions are gonna sneak up and win. But I'm probably gonna keep going with what I picked is the Dallas Cowboys.
And you see, I'm a fool. Here's why I said that. I picked Dallas to beat Miami last week, and I was wrong. I was very close, but I was very wrong. So you look at what Dallas has been able to do, especially at home.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas is almost unbeatable at home. Actually, they are because they haven't lost a game yet at home. They're 7-0. But once again, all five are away. Where's this game played? Dallas. Dallas coming off that loss to Miami in Miami. So you look at Detroit. Yes, they're a good football team. Congratulations to the Lions, I guess, for winning the division. First time you guys have ever won the NFC North ever since the NFC North existed. So congratulations. I guess, okay, as a Packers fan, I am as happy for Lions fans as I can be because I think your misery is hilarious. I think the year you went 0-16 was hilarious. I made fun of it all year when we were kids that year.
Mm-hmm.
0-16 lie. I made fun of it because I think it's hilarious. But Lions fans are faithful. Eminem, I'm a big Eminem fan. Eminem's a Lions fan, so Lions fans deserve this. They're a loyal fan base. So congratulations to the Lions. But I think them coming off that big win against Minnesota and then finally clinching the NFC North for the first time, they're probably a little too high on their horse right now. I think Dallas is actually a better team anyway than Detroit is. So with that, games in Dallas, Dallas is undefeated at home. Give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's either who you rather have clinch the division, the Lions or the Bears.
The Lions, 100%, no doubt.
I was gonna good pick.
And you know, I would even choose the Lions over the Vikings because Lions fans truly deserve all the glory they're getting right now.
Mm-hmm.
Vikings fans do not. They cheered when Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone. They have that annoying ass skull chant they do, which I don't understand why, because they don't have a right to, because their trophy case is empty. There's not a thing in there. Zero.
Skull.
Zero Super Bowl. Yeah, zero Super Bowl trophies. But don't worry. Go.
Skull.
Speaking of that, it's Minnesota week. We'll get into that later. Speaking of teams I shouldn't have bet on last week, who do you got? The Houston Texans or the Tennessee Titans? This is at Houston.
Mm. Oh, well, now this one is a little bit toughy because Houston Texans they got a little room to fight right now. They're first in the AFC South right now, so far as with Jacksonville and Indy, so they are tied with first. So,
But Jacksonville still does own the tiebreaker.
yep. But I'm looking at Titans are eliminated. They got nothing to lose. I mean, they might try to ruin the Houston Texans parade. They're actually trying to go get a playoff spot. But record says for itself. I'm probably going to pick the Texans because they got a lot of fight. They have so much fight. I mean, they've been going big. Bleh. They're so far right now. I mean, it's they have to have fight right now. I mean, everyone on there by today, everyone is questionable. Shroud is questionable. He was present for the practice. Um, so yeah, that's good. Will Anderson, he did not participate, but he is still questionable. Same thing with Jonathan Greenard. Same thing with the ankle with Will Anderson did not participate. So yeah, I mean with everyone else on their guys, they're all questionable. I think majority of them are going to play. Um, but yeah, the Houston Texans has a lot of fight in them, and I do believe they're going to win, especially with that ugly loss against the Browns that they had. I think that's where their spark is going to come in, and I am picking the Texans on this one.
I agree with you. Will Levis returned to practice as well.
Yep.
CJ Stroud, like you said, per the Houston Chronicle, he is actually in stage 4 of concussion protocol, which is the last step. So we'll see. Both quarterbacks still kind of up in the air. No official ruling yet, so we'll see. But I've been high on Houston all year. They kind of had a blunder against Cleveland. No shame in losing to Cleveland. Cleveland's a double-digit winning football team this year. Holy crap, I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah.
2023, the season where the Browns and the Lions both have double-digit wins. Ah, what a parallel universe we live in. But I
Right.
agree with you. I think Houston wins. I was stupid on betting on them last week. I'm gonna bet on them this week. I think Houston is well coached. They have DeMeco Ryans as a coach. He has them playing good football. They're at 8 wins, a 3-way tie in that division. Tennessee's been eliminated. Will Levis did say that he wants to end the season right and get a good taste in his mouth. That's me kind of paraphrasing that quote there. So he did say that, and so Tennessee's going to play hard. Derrick Henry's coming near on a 1,000-yard season, so he's going to play hard as well. So Tennessee's going to play hard. I suspect this to be a close game, but I think this is in Houston. They're fighting for their playoff lives. I'm high on Houston, maybe higher than I should be. Give me Houston. I'm going to roll with the Texans this week.
Good, good.
Yes. I struggled with this one for a good reason. The Atlanta Falcons at the Chicago Bears.
Hmm. Oh, on the according to ESPN analytics, I'm looking at some of the analytics on the ESPN. Right now it is almost at 50-50. Right? Oh, it's almost 50-50. 51.1%. Atlanta Falcons is going to win over the Bears with they're at 48.5%. I mean, with what the Bears is doing closer to the end of the season, I guess even though it was the Cardinals, even though they won against the Cardinals, it was. I don't want to say Justin Fields did good. I think, honestly, to me, I think the Cardinals should have won that game because that offense was actually looking really good. It's just that defense could not stop the run game on Carolina. Herbert had 20 carries for 112 yards and 1 touchdown. So, and Cole Kmet, 4 catches, 107 yards, with Justin Fields, 15 for 27, 170 yards, and 1 touchdown and 1 interception. I mean, I was looking at some of the plays that Justin Fields is doing. He is doing a little, just a teensy weeny a little bit better. I mean, it's not enough to improve everybody. He has making some a lot better plays than what he normally does. But it's still not good enough. I think the Atlanta Falcons offense is okay. And this is probably the most tough because this is probably the most balanced teams facing against each other right now. But the Atlanta Falcons has a need to fight because they are second in the division, where Tampa Bay, they're one game behind Tampa Bay right now. Chicago Bears, they're eliminated, so they really don't got nothing else to lose, in my opinion, other than trying to ruin some people's playoff decisions. But even though they are not eliminated, but I do believe they are going to be eliminated.
Well, they pretty much are. It's just not mathematically eliminated yet. They need a lot of help.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go with Atlanta Falcons. I am
Ooh.
picking. I I remember how I said last week that I picked the Bears because I went off my little rant and I was right, but that rant is over. Not picking the Bears ever again. So give me the Atlanta Falcons.
And it's finally happened. We have a different game. And that kind of makes me nervous because there's only a 4-game difference, and I'm picking Chicago this week. And free DoorDash is going to rely on the Chicago Bears. Outstanding. I actually am pick Chicago this week. I'm not a Justin Fields fan. I don't think he's their franchise quarterback, but I mean, he is looking a little better, like you said. He also, on top of those passing stats he had 9 rushes, 97 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. My issue is I don't think he's a good enough pure passer to be a quarterback in the NFL. Jalen Hurts is. Lamar Jackson definitely is. So I'm not saying being a running quarterback is a bad thing. I'm saying you simply need to be able to throw the football. I don't think he can do that consistently enough. He only does it against bad teams. And even then, he's not really lighting them up.
No.
But, I mean, you look, Chicago was able to beat the Cardinals pretty handily by over 10 points. So that does say something. Chicago 6-9, both teams. I mean, the Bears still technically are mathematically alive for the playoffs. The Cardinals aren't. So the Bears are going to go out there and try to win. They're going to go out and try to fight. So I think Chicago, they're on their high horse right now. Yes, Atlanta did just have that very impressive game against the Colts where Taylor Heineke had 229 yards, 1 touchdown, and B. John Robinson had 6 yards to carry, and Aguilar ran 1 in as well. So yeah, Atlanta had a good game. Issue is Atlanta is far too inconsistent. I've bet on Atlanta before, and they've bit me in the butt. I'm not doing it again. Give me Chicago.
All right.
Oh, ooh, this is gonna be a hard one. You got the Miami Dolphins at the Baltimore Ravens.
Hmm. The way that the Baltimore Ravens are playing right now, Tua's having a fantastic game, or playing a fantastic game. Lamar's playing a little bit better than what Tua's playing right now, but I'm probably gonna go with the Baltimore Ravens. They're playing fantastic football. Their defense is shutting amazing offensive uh high powered offense teams down. Like I want to say they shut out a lot of people or a lot of teams, but I mean they shut out the 49ers, they shut out the Jaguars. I don't want to say the Rams are pretty high powered, but they are. I mean they have
They
some
are they
secret
yeah.
they have secret weapons. Puka and Cooper Cup, those are the dynamic duo in LA. I mean, Chargers. I mean, I would say they have the caliber to be an elite um, offense team, but they just don't play it. They don't play like it. And then you got the Bengals with Joe Burrow, with everybody else in that on that team, with everyone's healthy and actually everyone's on the same page. Then yes, that is an elite team. So yes, they are shutting people out left and right, shutting them teams down. So yeah, I'm gonna pick with the Ravens on this game. Just flat at that because they're shutting everything down and their offense is not stopping.
You were absolutely right. Baltimore is actually the sixth best defense in the league. Here's an interesting fact. This was per Fox Sports. I'll credit the Fox Sports here. The Panthers are actually the fifth best defense in the league. Kind of weird. That's a weird stat. It's kind of that might be a sports fact of the day for those who aren't listening. That might be a future one. So that's kind of a weird stat. But you look back on track here. Baltimore Ravens are a top 10 defense, sixth in the league. They're only averaging 22 touchdowns allowed for the entire season, which is by far the best. But you look at their defensive yards allowed per game, that also kind of goes into that as well. So actually, they've allowed the least amount of touchdowns this season at 22. And yeah, Tyreek Hill is back. He had 99 receiving yards, so he's back to rolling in the game with Miami. Miami, I was very impressed with their win with Dallas. I did not think they would win that game because Dallas is a very good football team. And I'm going with Baltimore here. Initially, I picked Miami. I actually have it scribbled out. I'm going Baltimore here because of how well they played against San Francisco, who I think is the best team in football by far. I don't think it's close. What they did to Brock Purdy and that San Francisco offense, who's loaded, was absolutely impressive. I think Baltimore wins this game, but I will give Miami props. They won an ugly football game. Miami's problem previously was if their offense can't get going at a high speed, they lose. Automatically lose. They
Right.
can't grind it out. Because let's say Miami does not get the 1 seed. Oh, look, now you might have to travel to Baltimore. Probably not the best weather in Baltimore. Would you agree? Agreed. They're actually showing they can kind of grind games out this year, which is impressive to me. They don't have to play perfect to win, is what I'm getting at. But Baltimore right now, they're just way too hot. Lamar's an MVP candidate, number 2 on my list. So yeah, Baltimore's healthy right now. They're looking good. John Harbaugh's won a Super Bowl previously, shown he can do it. I think the Ravens, man, they're for real. Give me the Ravens. Oh yes, it's that time. I'll do my best to do my impression this week with my voice. I have a very big sore throat if you can't hear. So, the New Orleans Saints at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, Tom Brady Jr. 17-0, gonna win Super Bowl, gonna have 9 rings. Woo, Super Bowl. Who you got? Was that a good impression this week?
That was pretty good. Even though when you're sick, that you're
Pretty good.
You did pretty good.
Hey, I did my best. That's all we can do.
Oh, honestly, I'm probably going. Dang. Once again, another teams that are balanced, almost 50-50. But I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield he's very close being a comeback player of the year. He is one of the candidates, and I do believe he is one of the best candidates for the comeback player of the year. Because just for all the numbers that he's had this season, 26 touchdowns and only 8 interceptions. I mean, he's looking phenomenal this season. Their offense, I wouldn't say their offense can't be stopped per se, but Mike Evans is having a career of his life right now. He had 33 catches, 1,163 yards, and only 13 touchdowns so far. But with that being said, that I don't think the New Orleans Saints cannot stop that type of offense. Can't stop Mike Evans. They can't stop Baker. And with all the other receivers that they have, I mean, Chris Godwin hasn't showed up at all, but he has showed up, a few games here and there. But yeah, with that being said, but yeah, give me Tampa Bay.
I agree. I'm going to start my little segment here with saying I apologize to Baker Mayfield because I have made a joke and mockery of him I mean, even going back to the offseason, I was making joke of mockery when we started this podcast in February, and I've been making jokes and mockery and saying Tampa Bay ain't got a chance, and here I sit. Tampa Bay has sole possession of the NFC South and has a chance in the last two games, division opponents, to really wrap it up. So they can win this game here and finish with a winning record at 9 wins. So you look, Baker Mayfield for the season, 26 pass touchdowns, 8 pass interceptions, 96.2 QBR. So you look, I mean, he's putting up Pro Bowl numbers. He's putting up numbers he did in Cleveland. So I apologize to you, Baker Mayfield, but you look, the Bucks have already beaten the Saints before. I know that was back on October 1st, so it's been a long time. But they've already beaten them once. The Buccaneers are playing for a lot right now. This is in Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield's proven me wrong. I've been picking against Tampa Bay a lot this season. I owe Tampa Bay an apology. I am sorry to Tampa Bay because I think they're going to win. I do. I had the Saints winning this when the season started, and they still have a chance. I mean, they could win this game, and then things look a lot different. They'd have the same record. So things look a lot different if they win this game, but I don't think they will. I think Baker Mayfield's playing good football. Mike Evans, who I drafted in my fantasy league, who I will not let people live this down. I got flamed for drafting Mike Evans, and it has worked out phenomenally for me. And our playoffs start this week. So, with that, give me the Bucks. All right. Another excuse me, division matchup here. The Patriots, who have seen to have a little bit of stride going, at the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo.
I was literally about to do that. New England is, we all know, they're eliminated from the playoffs. Even though that the Patriots had that game-winning drive against the Broncos that led to the benching of Russell Wilson. We'll get to talk about that later in a little bit. Bailey Zappi. He's
Everybody get Zippy.
but he's a hit or miss at when it comes to it. Yes, he played phenomenal against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he was I wouldn't say he was okay, but he didn't put up the great numbers. And he played really good against the Denver Broncos. But that being said, I mean, there's really no question. I mean, it's gonna have to be the Bills because they're a better team, they have better offense, they have a better defense. Really, Patriot has nothing else to lose. You might as well tank it out for the rest of the season and try to get a better pick to try to get whoever is available. Because I don't know who is available for the draft this year. So yeah.
Bo Nix is good. Caleb Williams will probably go number
Caleb
one.
Williams, Bo Nix, Marvin Harrison Jr., which I don't think he shouldn't. He should stick with staying in college for more year, but I think he is going to be in the draft. I still think he should stay in one more year, in my opinion. But with that being said, yeah, Josh Allen is a better quarterback. Like I said, everything in Buffalo is a lot better than the New England Patriots. So give me the Buffalo.
I agree with you, but I'm picking Buffalo, yes, but very cautiously because Buffalo seems to be one of those teams that when you think they're going to kick someone's ass, they don't.
No.
I mean, it's a last-minute drive to beat Ethan Stick in the Chargers.
Stick.
So you look, yeah, Josh Allen went out there and played well. 237 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. James Cook had 70 yards. Gabe Davis, 130 yards, 1 touchdown. And yes, I understand. Because you look, what the Bills have done is very impressive. The season ends right now. They're back in wild card contention. Me and you were burying Buffalo a few weeks ago. So they've climbed themselves right back into it. They still did win against the Chargers. Winning is all that matters. I will get to that in our Green Bay topic because truly, at the end of the day, is win, loss. That's it. So you look, right now they have 9 wins. They have a chance here against a bad New England team to get 10 and pretty much cement their spot in the playoffs. Well, I think Buffalo wins. Josh Allen's too much of an elite quarterback. And yes, New England has won 2 of their last 3 games. They only lost to Kansas City by 10. That was the one game they did lose. So they're playing a lot better. So Bill Belichick, is probably coaching for his job right now. And if New England still doesn't want to hold on to him, some other team will. Another team will hire Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So he's probably he's auditioning for a job either in New England or away from New England right now. So New England's going to play hard. It's a Bill Belichick coach team. They're not going to give up. So I think Buffalo wins this game. I think it's close in the first half, but Buffalo kind of stretches it out and pulls away in the second half. I'll say this. It'll be tied at halftime, and then Buffalo wins by 14. They'll kind of pull away. Give me the Bills.
I agree.
All right. The Battle of the Birds. The Arizona Cardinals at the Philadelphia Eagles.
This game. The Birds.
Come on.
I mean, statistically, we're looking at a slaughter against. But for some odd reason, ever since Kyler Murray came back, they have been slowly easing up on the wins, but they just can't finish. Even though, yes, the Eagles did win against the Giants, but it was an ugly game in the first half. But surprisingly, they came back in the third quarter. That's where they scored the majority of their points. I don't know. I mean, right now, close to the end of the season. Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
Ugh.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. But the Eagles, they've been really questionable at the end of the season. They've been losing games close to the end of the season where they think they should have won. Like the Seahawks game, they should have won that. The Dallas Cowboys game, I mean, to me, they should have won it. They had the better team, in my opinion, but they just skunked it out. They literally just went home, packed home, went to bed. And then the 49ers, I kind of expected the 49ers basically just murdering them. But I don't think they shouldn't have scored 20, or the Giants should have scored 25 points with the elite defense that the Philadelphia Eagles has. I think it's going to be the exact same way as the Giants game. The Cardinals in the first half is going to look amazing, and then the Eagles are going to fight back and actually win this in the second half. So give me the Eagles.
We're on the same page. And to all the mainstream analysis out there saying, oh my God, Philadelphia is in trouble. No, they're not. You look at Philadelphia right now, they are far from in trouble. Yeah, they just broke their 3-game losing streak, so they got back on the right side of things again. But you look at Philadelphia right now. Right now, they're a double-digit win football team. They're tied for the first seed in the NFC. They can very well have a first-round bye when the season's over. They have 11 wins. Eagles fans, cry me a river. What I would do have 11 wins as a Packers fan right now. I would do a lot of things. So, with that, Crimea River, Philadelphia has no problems. Jalen Hurts just set this single-season quarterback rushing touchdown record, so he's playing just fine. Yeah, he has a little more turnovers than normal. Their offense still kind of, I guess it's kind of like that Lamborghini that kind of has a bad motor in it. Looks beautiful. Driving down the road, it kind of goes a little bit. That's still the same, but they broke the 3-game losing streak. They're at 11 wins. I'm not going to overreact on Philadelphia. They're still grinding it out. And in playoff time, that's what you need to be able to do. You're not going to go out there and win a perfect game. Not in the playoffs. There's too many good teams out there. And let's not act like the teams they lost to are horrible, because they're definitely not.
Oh no.
Because looking here, they lost to the Seahawks, who if the season ends right now, they're a playoff team. They lost to the Cowboys, who's a playoff team, and they lost to the 49ers, who's a playoff team. So they lost to good playoff caliber football teams.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they lose or not. So yeah, I think Kyler Murray on the Cardinals note, I think he's their franchise quarterback. I think they're stupid if they move off of him. He has absolutely no help. He doesn't have a number 1 receiver. He doesn't even have a number 2 receiver. His offensive line's abysmal. The defense is trash. He has no help, and he's still going out there and keeping the Cardinals at least respectable. They need to build around him. This isn't one of those Josh Rosen things to where you draft them in the first round, and then literally the next year you draft someone else, who was Kyler Murray.
Yep.
So this isn't one of those situations. They are fools. If they are the NFL clown show if they move on from Kyler Murray. But even with how good Kyler Murray is, they're not beating Philly. Give me the Eagles. Oh boy. Who you got this week? The Carolina Panthers at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, like I said, with who was it that I was talking about earlier? Oh yeah, the Jacksonville, the Colts, and Houston are on a 3-way tie. Jacksonville has a lot to fight for right now, so they're hoping the Colts and Houston will lose so they can get that number 1, so they can clinch the division. But I don't think there's going to be a fight. There's going to be a lot of fight with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Especially in the AFC South, because that is I want to say it's a rough division where there's a 3-way tie right now. But I'm probably going to pick with the Jaguars. But I mean, don't get me fooled. Carolina scored 30 points over the Packers, which I didn't even see that happening.
I did.
I mean, Joe Barry, I mean, look at him. I mean, he's the best defensive coordinator in the NFL, right?
He couldn't coach a Division III football team.
Oh, but anyways, but I'm gonna probably pick with Jacksonville because they don't have Joe Barry as their defensive coordinator. Like I said, Jacksonville has a lot of fight. They have a lot of things to fight for. So, give me Jacksonville.
I am cautiously picking Jacksonville. The reason I'm cautiously picking Jacksonville, it doesn't know Trevor Lawrence is going to play. He has a shoulder injury per Adam Schefter. QB Trevor Lawrence did not practice today with a shoulder injury. That's not good. And the Jaguars signed Matt Barkley away from the Giants practice squad. So that's not a good sign either. If you were confident he was going to play, you would not make a move like that. So Jacksonville they could very well be looking at themselves on the outside of the playoff picture, especially if they lose this game. But Doug Peterson's a good coach. Carolina is not 30 points good. They're not. That was simply because Joe Barry is that horrendous. I mean, Christ, Bryce Young had 312 passing yards, 2 pass touchdowns, 0 turnovers. We forced no turnovers against the abysmal Panthers, who scored 9 points the week before that in a win. back on track. No more rants. But you look, I don't expect that to happen again because Joe Barry, like you said, is not the defensive coordinator. He is by far the worst defensive coordinator in the league. So I expect Jacksonville to win this game. They're probably going to come out desperate. I don't think this will be a very high scoring football game. I don't think this will be a very fun football game to watch. But I picked Jacksonville to win this division. They've led this division all year long. I'm not going to sell my stock on that yet. I think the Jaguars win this game. Give me a score of around 13-6. I think a very ugly football game that will have you want to pour hot sauce in your eyes when it's over with. But I think Jacksonville wins. They're desperate.
All right. Dang. A low scoring game.
All right, who we got? The Vegas Raiders at the Indianapolis Colts.
Or the Las Vegas Raiders. They're on a hot streak right now. Ever since they fluked that game against the Minnesota Vikings. This was a tough one because the Colts offense has actually been really, really good. Michael Pittman Jr. was limited for the practice on Wednesday today for that concussion and shoulder, so he is doing okay. But that everything being said, Max Crosby was limited. Josh Jacobs did not participate for his quads.
Odds.
But with everything else being said, the Raiders defense is actually looking really good. They held, like you said, with the Kansas City Chiefs, they held them with 14 points. And they basically destroyed the Chargers. You know what? Give me the Las Vegas Raiders over the Colts. Just besides for the fact that Las Vegas Raiders is playing amazing football. They're out here like destroying teams. I'm not gonna say destroying teams, but making them look like fools, I should say. I mean, yes, Patrick Mahomes did throw over 200 yards against them, but only one touchdown and one interception. But the Colts is not the Chiefs. They don't have Patrick Mahomes. They don't have Travis Kelce. I would probably say they have probably the exact same receivers. I mean, they're all mediocre at this point. But Las Vegas Raiders are getting the job done. So give me a Las Vegas Raiders.
Yes, another one we're different on. And yes, Antonio Pierce has the Raiders playing good football. He actually is 4-3 as their coach, and I think should continue to be their coach. He has been playing Raiders football. Has that locker room responding? He's played in the league before. He knows what these guys are going through. So you look, actually, technically, the Raiders are not eliminated from playoff contention, and the Colts are hanging on by a thread of their spot as well.
Yep.
And you look, the Colts actually right now are kind of on a slump right now. They've lost 2 of their last 3 games, and not by, by a long shot. Because they lost 29-10 against Taylor Heineke and the Falcons. Yeah, they obliterated Pittsburgh, but then they lost to Jake Browning and the Bengals by 20 points as well. So they've lost 2 of their last 3 games. They're kind of reeling as well. But I meant what I said when I said Gardner Minshew weeks ago. I said it's like 5-6 weeks ago. Is the best backup quarterback in the NFL. Jonathan Taylor's healthy again. I think the Colts, this game's in Indianapolis. The Raiders didn't complete a single pass for multiple quarters of that Chiefs game. The only reason they won that Chiefs game was because of the blunders. Yeah, because of the blunders that Patrick Mahomes made, fumbling the ball at like the 2 yard line and then throwing a pick six literally the next play. Gardner Minshew's not going to do that. The Colts aren't making that bad of offensive decisions right now. Because you look, they're actually, how do I say this? The Colts are actually carry the ball for the most part. Yeah, Minshew had one interception against the Falcons, but no more than that. So I think the Colts are able to bounce back here. The Raiders are playing well. The Raiders are playing well with Antonio Pierce, but I worry about their ability to complete passes. Again, I love my boy Aiden O'Connell, but the man didn't even complete a single pass for multiple quarters. You can't win consistently in the NFL that way because every game you're not going to get 14 points off your defense. You're just not. They did last week. The likelihood of them doing it this week is low. So give me the Colts. All right. I don't suspect we'll be different here, though. You got the LA Rams and the New York Football Giants.
Oh. Well, I think what I was heard that. Oh, where's he at? Did they put him on injured reserve? No, they did not. I was looking, trying to find Tommy DeVito and his injury because I think he was injured.
Well, the Giants announced Tyrod Taylor will start this week.
Yep. So Tommy DeVito had a nice run. We had Tyrod Taylor. Once again, he's getting his shot again. So even though it was, I want to say abysmal, it was a sad time that I want to say, I mean, they did fell short with the game-ending interception. With the New York Giants are eliminated, but I think it's time for a new change, the new start. I think Daniel Jones, he's not going to be there next year. I think they're going to cut his contract, which I don't think they can at this point with all this money that they gave him.
Well, they can. They would just have to pay it out anyway.
Which is a robbery, in my opinion. But give me the Rams. The Rams are a lot better. They're a better team. I don't think Tyrod Taylor is that good enough of a quarterback to actually move the ball with that Los Angeles Rams defense. It's too good of a defense for the Giants to move the ball, and then they might move the ball here and there, get it in field goal range, but not a touchdown. Maybe we get a touchdown here and there, but that Rams defense is a little too good for them.
Okay. I 100% agree with you. We were wrong on the Rams because when the season started, everyone wrote the Rams off. Sean McVay should be coach of the year. If they make the playoffs, he should be the coach of the year because he's truly turned them around. Matt Stafford for the season, 23 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 93 QBR, 3,648 passing yards. You look, even Kyron Williams, who missed multiple games this season, is over 1,000 yards. That's how good he has ran the football. Dude's a beast. Like you said, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua at receiver. The Rams are getting hot at the right time. I truly think this. I think if the Rams played the Eagles in the playoffs right now, the Rams might win or have a good chance to win. I was wrong on the Rams. They're legit, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised because Sean McVay's a Super Bowl champion. Matt Stafford's a Hall of Fame quarterback. They have 2 really good receivers. They have a good pass rusher in Aaron Donald. So I guess I shouldn't be totally surprised. But the Giants, quarterback carousel again. Is it Tommy DeVito, Tyrod Taylor? Giants leveled back to earth. They did play the Eagles well. And Tyrod Taylor did have some moments. I mean, he did have 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 7 for 16, 133. So he made some throws, but the Rams are too high powered. Sean McVay's a better coach than Brian Daboll is. Yeah, give me the Rams. They're better at quarterback. They're better at receiver. They're better statistically right now at running back. They're better at head coach. Give me the Rams. Okay. Oh, yes. Who you got? The San Francisco 49ers at the Washington Commanders. Are we going to take command?
We're never going to take command at this point. Washington was always being shambles. Don Shula should not Don Shula. God dang it.
JB's going back in time a few days.
Yes, yes, I am back. I'm going back to the past. Oh no, Ron Rivera. I mean, he should be out of there.
He will be, I'm sure.
I do believe he's going to, because I mean, if we're looking at it, he's 4-11, and he's on a 6-game losing streak right now, and it's going to be a 7-game losing streak. The 49ers are going to come back, and they're just gonna take candy from a baby at this point. Just because for the fact that yes, their candy did get stolen, but they're gonna get their candy right back with the Commanders. So yeah, I mean they really have nothing really to say with the 49ers. Yeah, they're a high power team, high powered offense, high powered defense. I think they're gonna run through the Commanders. So yeah, give me the command or the San Francisco 49ers. About had a blooper there.
Well, some of it might be bloopers. We also might be hallucinating because we both feel like crap. So, yep. I agree with you. Oh, I'm taking command all right because San Francisco's going to take command of the Commander's ass. They take command of something. Because, I mean, you look, San Francisco got embarrassed against Baltimore. 5 interceptions. So, San Francisco, this is one of those games that some coaches go into the film room this week and they throw the film away. I'm not a fan of that. I think you need to watch the film. You need to watch how badly you played. But that's how badly they played. Because some NFL coaches have said if they get beaten that badly, they throw the film out. They say, let's start over. We don't want to watch it. Let's start over. And that's one of those kind of weeks. San Francisco is the most talented team in the league. They're going to win the Super Bowl. I've said it since the summertime when we were making predictions. I'm not backing away now. Again, a big stream sports media. Oh my God, the Niners are in trouble. Yeah, cry me a river. You're the number 1 seed in the NFC. Shut the fuck up. That's my one F-bomb for the episode. I don't want to hear it. Cry me a river. So you look, they played the Ravens. Now they get to go to Washington against a very bad football team who's starting Jacoby Brissett this week because Sam Howell played so poorly last week that Ron Rivera, like you said, they're on a big losing streak. 6 games, you said?
I do.
Yeah,
I
6
believe
games.
so. Yeah.
Right. So you look, Sam Howell 2 interceptions. Yeah. The Commanders kept it competitive with the Jets. They allowed 30 points against the Jets. I can only imagine how many they're going to allow or a pissed off 49ers team who got embarrassed on national TV last week. San Francisco's more talented. They're better coached. They're going to go in there madder than hell, and they're going to win. This will be a thrashing. Give me San Francisco by over 20.
I'll say over 30 at this point.
Well, they're all NFL players. They're all talented. They all play in the NFL for a reason. So I'm not willing to go as high as 30, but definitely over 20. Give me the Niners. Ah, yes. Your favorite time of the week. And boy, as a Packers fan, you have to be a Steelers fan this week because Green Bay needs to win their last 2 games and get some help. And this is the little bit of the help they need. They need Seattle to lose this week. Who do you got? The Pittsburgh Steelers at the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh man. Oh. Even though we had a Christmas miracle, Rudolph guided the Pittsburgh Steelers sleigh into the win. The first quarterback in a while, I want to say in a while, but in a little bit, passed over almost 300 yards. He went 290 yards, 2 touchdowns. Najee Harris 1 touchdown, and we finally gave the ball to George Pickens, and we can see what he can do with the football. He is a playmaker. I don't care what everyone else says about George Pickens. Okay, he is a playmaker. He is probably one of the best playmakers in the league already, and yet we don't use him. And I don't know why. Because this game, he had 4 catches, 195 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I don't get it. I don't get why do we not give him the ball more during the regular season throughout the whole tired season. Like I don't get it. But I mean, with everything else at this point, with the injuries, with Kenny Pickett, let me check the injury report. Najee is questionable, so is Isaac Samulu. He is also questionable. Kenny Pickett, with Mike Thomas said Tuesday that Pickett's ankle is in the same position with his injury as last week. So it has not. So he thinks it has not changed. Um, so I do believe that I was going to want to say that Mason Rudolph is going to be starting for this game, and I hope to God that he had one amazing game and he's just gonna go fall off right again. Um, and like I said, we've been on an injury slump. We're right now we're just like everything is going downhill for us with injuries. It's like the Baltimore Ravens gave us that curse. Like, here you go, and now you can see what happens with injuries because our linebacker room is in shambles. Miles Jack came back. If we sign Miles Jack to come back, I mean, if that says anything. But with the Seattle Seahawks, they're also a really good football team. Both games they won by 3 with the Eagles and the Titans. But if we keep that same caliber, that same mentality, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers will win. If we can stop the Seattle Seahawks offense. DK Metcalf is going to. I swear. I hope. Yeah, I hope he doesn't have a good game. But I really don't want to say it. I really don't. God, this is a tough one. You know what? I'm a diehard Steelers fan, so I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Seattle Seahawks.
You see, I thought you'd jump right into it because we both bet against the Steelers last week, and we were both wrong. So I figured you'd go Pittsburgh here. I'm going Pittsburgh here with my mind and my heart. My heart because here's an interesting fact for you Packer fans out there. Oh, excuse me. Looking at the Packers' playoff chances, if the Bears beat the Falcons, and the Giants beat the Rams, and the Pittsburgh beat Seattle, and Green Bay wins their last 2 games, we make the playoffs. So naturally, I'm a Steelers fan this week because it helps my Packers.
You want to wear my
But
shirt?
even with my heart, if it means the Packers make the playoffs, absolutely. So, looking, George Pickens now has over 1,000 yards on the season. You are absolutely correct, my friend. He is absolutely a playmaker. You look at what the Pittsburgh Steelers defense was able to do against that Cincinnati offense. They forced 3 interceptions on Jake Browning. They allowed under 50 yards for Joe Mixon. Yeah, T. Higgins had himself a nice day, 140 yards, 1 touchdown. But only 11 points for Cincinnati. Pittsburgh put up 34. Najee Harris finally looked decent, 1 touchdown, 4.1 yards a carry. So you look, Pittsburgh is, I said it the whole time. All the Steelers fans, you've been kind of teetering yourself back and forth. You haven't flat out said it yet, but a lot of people wanted Mike Tomlin fired. I said they were crazy. And you look here again, here we are. Pittsburgh is 8-7 and tied for the 7 seed, and they find themselves right back in the thick of things. But Seattle, same way, they're on the brink of the playoffs themselves. They currently hold the last seed of the NFC also. They are 8-7, with the Vikings and Packers right behind them as well. So you look, I think this is a close game. Pete Carroll, Mike Tomlin, both elite coaches, both Super Bowl champions. But I'm picking Pittsburgh here, mainly with my heart, because I think it could go either way. But I think Pittsburgh wins. I think Mason Rudolph, he had a great game last week. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing record. He's going to win this week and get 9 wins. Give me Pittsburgh.
And I'm going to say this, though. One more thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If we do not make the playoffs, I am blaming one person and one person only. As Mitch Trubisky. I want to say other bad things. I want to say other things, but I can't. But I really want to so bad. He's the reason why if we don't make the playoffs. Because he played horrible. Literally horrible. Against the Cardinals, the Patriots, and the Colts. All 3 of those games that we should have won. We should have won because the Cardinals, one of the worst teams in the league. Patriots, one of the worst teams in the league. The Colts was equal. If it's those games, those 3 games, I am blaming Mitch Trubisky. I hope he gets a plane ticket after this season and he hightails it out of Pittsburgh. I swear to God. He is the reason why. He is the reason why we are 8-7 right now. He's the main reason why.
You're right, because you look, let's say even with Mason Rudolph, the Steelers lose the Colts game. Okay, who cares?
Yep.
But if you can at least win the Patriots and Cardinals game, which should have been easy wins, now you're at 10 wins. Now you're probably going to make the playoffs, and now we're having a totally different conversation right now.
Yep. So yeah, if we miss the playoffs, I swear to God, it is Mitch Trubisky. You're gone. You are
gone. Mitchburg.
I was sad and disappointed at the Steelers organization when we signed him, but I always had doubts. I'm a big believer on some of the choices that we make. I was sad and disappointed at this one, but I always had my doubts because they always come in clutch. And this one, they did not come in clutch at all. This is probably one of the worst decisions that we had to sign Mitch Trubisky out of all the quarterbacks in the free agency. And we still kept him this season. Why? That's enough my rant. Let's go to the next game.
Speaking of that, we've been saying that the entire time, especially JB. Go check out our breaking news on Mitch Trubisky being re-signed way back in the offseason. You can see it for yourself. So with that, this is a big game. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs. My wife's favorite team, the Chiefs. She's a Swiftie also. Who do you got?
Ooh, the Swifties. Everybody get Swifty. I'm probably gonna go with the Chiefs on this one. Just for the fact that the Bengals are in, I don't want to say they're in shambles, but the way that
they're playing good.
They're playing good, especially with Jake Browning as their quarterback.
Absolutely.
But when he faced a great defense, the Steelers, even though we are in a injury slump right now with our defense, especially our linebackers and our safeties and I would say our corners as well. Hey, all of our defense is injured. All of our star,
At least.
all of our star elite defensive players are on either injured reserve or they're been out for a couple of weeks. Mika Fitzpatrick has been on and off on injuries left and right. Our safeties, our starting safeties, either they're on injured reserve or they're suspended for the rest of the game over some dumb hit that shouldn't even be suspended for, because that's football,
No,
anyways.
absolutely not.
Anyways, that's the point. And then our corners. I mean, I don't even go with the corners, but even though we still get the win and we're still an elite defense. But yeah, and Kansas City is the same way. They're an elite defense. Cincinnati will be in shambles, facing against elite defenses. So yeah, give me the Kansas City.
Here we go again, betting on Kansas City. And we have no reason not to. They have 9 wins. They're going to be a winning football team regardless. They have Pat Mahomes, who's a league MVP and a multiple Super Bowl champion. Andy Reid, going to be a Hall of Fame coach, Super Bowl champion, against Jake Browning at Arrowhead. And Jake Browning's coming off a 3-interception game, and the Bengals find themselves tied for a playoff spot, but outside of the playoff picture currently due to tiebreakers and whatnot, things like that. So, you look, I'm going Kansas City here. I think they'll be able to eventually figure it out good enough on offense to win another game or two, make the playoffs, whatnot. I think this is that game. They're going to make some adjustments. Their defense is one of the best in the league. They're playing great defense. Against Jay Browning, I think that'll be enough. Patrick Mahomes, so long as he doesn't make those 2 blunders like he did last week, they probably would have won that game. But I don't think he'll make that mistake twice. Give me the Chiefs. Yes. Speaking of quarterbacks being benched, talked about Sam Howell earlier. Who do you got? The Denver Broncos or the LA Chargers? This is in Denver. Russell Wilson has been benched and will not start this week.
To me, I think that is funny. Um, to me, I don't see the reason why they benched him. I think there was some missed altercations left and right because Russell Wilson had a good game.
I mean, statistically, yeah.
Statistically, he had a great game. He went 25 for 37, 238 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But I don't know if Sean Payton and him had some words at the end of the game. Honestly, I want to say it was their defense's fault that they lost by 3. Um, but yeah, that defense should be playing a lot better than what they should be right now. Just for the fact that they should have, against, out of all teams, the Patriots put up 26 points. Like, come on, especially in the third quarter, 20 points in the third quarter. I mean, that's 20 unanswered points in the third quarter. Like, that's ridiculous for the Broncos defense, and especially the Broncos offense was playing good. But I want to say this loss was on their defense more than Russell Wilson. But I think, like I said, they probably had some words. I don't know the full story behind it. I could probably pull it up, but that'll probably take a little bit more time than what I think what it should be. But yeah, give me, even though Russell Wilson is benched, the Chargers are done. They're gone for the rest of the season. So yeah, give me the Denver Broncos.
I agree with you. Denver's going to win this game, but they're going with Jared Stidham over Russell Wilson. And you look, I mean, Russell Wilson for the season, over 3,000 passing yards, 98 QBR, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And let's be honest here. Excuse me. There's been multiple reports that Sean Payton and Russell Wilson don't get along. There's been reports throughout the season. Sean Payton's been seen screaming at Russell Wilson on the sideline. So I think Sean Payton's looking for a scapegoat. I don't think he wants Russell Wilson. He's been benched for the rest of the season, so the last 2 games. I don't think Russell Wilson will be a Bronco next year.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson has had over 10 years in the NFL of being an elite quarterback. The man's played in 2 Super Bowls. He's won 1 Super Bowl. Should have won a second, but that's an old conversation. So, I mean, my God, man, you look, all those good years in Seattle this year, putting up good numbers with the Broncos. The reason they lost because the defense couldn't stop Zappy. I mean, my God, that's the defense's fault. And they want to blame Russ, who had no interceptions, 2 touchdowns? I mean, okay, they can be in denial all they want. Sean Payton can be in denial all he wants. But Russell Wilson's far from the problem.
Right.
The issue is they gave him all that money. He had a really bad year last year, which left a sour taste in their mouth. And they're probably not going to be in the playoffs this year. But, I mean, they're going to Jared Stidham, and they're technically not even eliminated yet. I don't like that. That's some dirty stuff. I don't like what Sean Payton's doing to Russell Wilson here. He needs to go. Do you know where he'd be good at?
Where?
Pittsburgh. Because you look, if Pittsburgh can get themselves a decent offensive coordinator, that's the kicker right there. Russell Wilson is plenty good enough quarterback to lead them to the playoffs, and he's an upgrade from Kenny Pickett. Of course, we'll get into that when the offseason happens. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. That's just a food for thought. But yeah, I think Denver wins simply because the Chargers are abysmal. The Chargers will continue charging. They fired their head coach. Justin Herbert's out for the season. They're a mess. Sean Payton's a good coach. I'm not going to sit here and flame him the entire time. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. He has Denver much better than they were last year. He has Russell Wilson playing above average football. I just don't understand why you bench your quarterback you're paid that much money to and make him mad like that. I don't get it. But yeah, give me Denver. Yes. The Joe Barry rant I've been waiting for. Who you got? The Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. This is a big game for playoffs.
This is a big game. Big game. Both teams are 7-8. Let's see here. Let me look at the roughly an evenly matched teams. With the Lions beating the Rams, which led them to their first clinched division title. I think Green Bay is good enough to beat Minnesota, but like we said before, Joe Barry is the defensive coordinator, and he is in shambles right now.
Yeah.
And with Campbell being questionable, Quay Walker's being questionable, Salton's being questionable, Owens is questionable, and Jenkins is also questionable for this game. But the last 5 games, though, this is the big kicker. Minnesota Vikings is 1-4. Packers are 3-5. I think it's when it comes to crunch time, I think Packers have the better advantage than what the Minnesota Vikings is because, I mean, look at their quarterback right now. It's not even looking good. It's Nick Mullins, for crying out loud. All because they benched my guy, Joshua Dobbs. Nick Mullins has been okay for the past few games, but not okay enough to give them the wins that they needed. yes, Joshua Dobbs played horrible for one game. One game. But yet, you benched him for one game, over one game. And now look at it. You've been losing since. So, who is having the last laugh now? So, with that being said, with Nick Mullins is the quarterback, I'm picking the Packers.
I agree with you. I'm picking Green Bay. This is pretty much a must-win for them. I mean, if they lose, their playoff percentage drops really low. They could actually be eliminated from the playoffs this week if the Seahawks beat the Steelers and the Rams beat the Giants. So if those two things happen, plus Green Bay loses, we're eliminated. So you look, Jordan Love's actually playing great football. He has more touchdown passes than Pat Mahomes and less interceptions than Pat Mahomes. Jordan Love for the season is playing absolutely outstanding football. He should be a Pro Bowl quarterback this year. That's what I've been saying the whole time. And you look, yes, we only beat the Panthers by 3. We got back in the win column. On top of the fact that we played without Christian Watson, without Jaden Reed, and receiver Datanian Wicks did not return after he got hurt as well. So he didn't finish the game as well. So a lot of injuries for the Packers. On that, Jair Alexander's been suspended this week. Me and JB will get into that a little bit. So that's kind of a big deal, especially when you're playing against Justin Jefferson. So I think Green Bay wins this game. I think Green Bay's more talented than Minnesota is. I think they have a better quarterback. Yes, Green Bay lost to Minnesota already once this season, but that was with Kirk Cousins at quarterback. Now, definitely Kirk Cousins definitely isn't at quarterback right now. So you look, yeah, Nick Mullins is no Kirk Cousins. The Vikings are on a little bit of a slump right now. They find themselves outside the playoff picture. I think Green Bay is going to be able to get in there and get a win. No thanks to Joe Barry, because I think this game will probably be Green Bay 28, Minnesota 24. He'll make Nick Mullins look like Pat Mahomes. I'm sure of it, because Joe Barry was the defensive coordinator for the 0-16 Lions, and we hired him for some freaking reason, even though he's never been top 10 in any statistical category as a defensive coordinator ever, and we still hired him, and we still haven't fired him. I'll say this. Joe Barry is a worse coach than Matt Canada. That's my opinion. I think he's the worst coach in football. Joe Barry deserves absolutely no spot being on an NFL coaching roster. He's going back to college. And he'll probably suck there too. Joe Barry needs to go. Their defense isn't going to be the reason they win this game, because the defense is abysmal, even though we have all those first-round picks. But you look, we're getting a little healthier, because you look at our injuries right now. Aaron Jones was limited. A.J. Dillon was limited. The only people that did not practice was Devondre Campbell, Elton Jenkins, Luke Musgrave practiced, Darnell Savage practiced, Jaden Reed practiced. Christian Watson did not practice also, so excuse me there. So they're getting a little healthier. Hopefully Jaden Reed and Wicks can play. But I think Green Bay wins here, man. I think Jordan loves that dude. He's going to go out there and get a big win on Sunday Night Football. Give me the Pack.
And there is no Monday Night Football, because it is going to be a New Year's.
That's right. So with that, me and JB are going to go into our subtopic here. We're going to continue in the world of the National Football League and speak a little more, like I said, on that Jair Alexander situation. Let me catch my breath here. Sorry. Ooh, man, I'm so sick. So, Jair Alexander has been suspended for one game for conduct detrimental to the team. When asked, head coach Matt LaFleur said it was never one thing. I want to make this perfectly clear. It has nothing to do with him not being able to play. Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst also said the decision to suspend a player is never easy, and not one we as the Packers take lightly. Unfortunately, Jair's actions prior to the game in Carolina was the coin toss. For those that do not know, the Packers are known to have different captains for each week. Those captains, they rotate them out. They go out for the coin toss. Jair Alexander went out there without any coaches knowing and did it himself without approval and did the coin toss. So that was why he was suspended. Gutekunst went on to say, as an organization, we have an expectation that everybody puts the team first. While we're disappointed, we had a good conversation with Alexander this morning, and fully expect him to learn from what has transpired. We look forward to welcoming him back next week, as he is a valued member of this team and will continue to be in the future. What do you make of this Jair Alexander situation? Because, I mean, truly, he hasn't played a lot this season. He missed quite a few games without being on IR. Kind of bizarre things going on. What do you make of this situation, JB? This is your 1 minute, and go!
I mean, I don't. Some people think it's petty, but I mean, it's a tradition for there. I would say this is like a traditional thing. It's not it is a team sport. It's not just a youth sport. For that being said, excuse me. But yeah, it's not petty. I mean, it's petty that Jair did that. I think he was being a little selfish. That it's like, I've been injured for so long. Let me be the team captain today, even though they already picked one for that week. But I think Jair was putting himself before the team, and that is a no-no. So every team has their tradition of a pregame, doing how they do their things. So with that being said, Jair did overrule that by himself, and for that, it's for the choices that he made is a 1-game suspension. So to me, I think it is a good suspension, and is a good learning curve for him.
I absolutely agree with you. My 1 minute starts now. Go. You look at Jair Alexander. I mean, my God, the dude only played 6 of 15 games this year. The dude has no sacks. He has no interceptions on record this year. Most of the games we've won this year have been because he wasn't there. And let's be honest, if anyone who was keeping track of that Packers-Panthers game, Jair did not play his best game. He was out there, we still allowed 30 points. Our defense has played better without him at times. Like I said, he kind of, in the postgame, even admitted it. He went out there because he's originally from the Charlotte area. He said that he doesn't believe coach knew that. But you can't be doing that. There's nothing that comes before the team.
Yep.
There is no I in team. It is true. The Packers, I think, here are making a very good statement, stating that I don't care if you're an all-pro corner. I don't care if you're the best corner in the league, which, when he plays, he arguably is top 5, top 10 corner in the league. I still think that. I think with his injury history, he's probably not the best corner in the league anymore. I think he used to be. But I think he's still probably top 5, top 10 corner in the league when healthy. But this just proves that the Packers are a no BS team. If you screw up, and if you do something that hurts the team, then we're going to suspend you, no matter who you are. If you're the last guy on the roster, or if you're a star player. So I like it. I think it sends a good message to the team. And here's why I think it's a big deal. Because he said he wants his defense to be out there, and quote, they all looked at me like I was crazy. Well, of course they did, because Joe Barry's defensive coordinator, and dude can't stop a high school team. So that's to be reckoned with. And here's a big thing, because one thing you don't want to ever say is we'll kick, because an official might interpret that as deciding you are making the choice to open the game by kicking off. Then the other team will make its choice at the start of the second half, so very well you could not get the ball at the beginning of the second half either. So thank goodness he didn't make that mistake, but you put your teammates in that position to possibly have to deal with that. That's not a good team player. I ain't got nothing for you at this point. You're no different than David Bakhtiari at this point, who needs to get packing as well. Jair Alexander, very selfish. We'll see how he plays against Chicago. This is the right move. Selfish.
Yep.
But that's all we have for today's Unbiased Hard Take. I promise next week me and JB will be feeling better. I'll sound a lot better, but the show must go on, as always. JB, anything else you want to end on?
I would like to say, get rid of Mitch Trubisky. He's gone. He's out of here. But
Mitchburg.
Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We do this once a week because of our work schedules. We try to get everything out the best we can. But yes, happy holidays, happy New Year's whenever you are watching this. hopefully your New Year's. I don't honestly, to me, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I always like looking at goals. So hopefully your goals are met, or you start your goals at the beginning of the year. I hope you succeed in your goals and keep achieving your goals. So just keep on going, just keep grinding, keep climbing. That's all I got.
I second everything JB just said. Again, I also check out Sports Facts today. Again, she got me a nice Christmas present here from my wife. Shout out to my wife. I slept 20 out of 24 hours yesterday. I did not feel well. I felt like absolute garbage. Still do, but because of her kind of helping take care of me and the kids, I was able to get well enough through the podcast. So shout out to my beautiful wife. Appreciate you, love you. Again, Happy New Year from the Unbiased Hard Take. We'll see you guys in Week 18. That's all I have. And as always, go Pat go, boiler up, and flames up.
And like I said, Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays. Go Steelers, boiler up, and let's go Miami Heat, even though we won against the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's go. Let's go.
Undefeated on Christmas.
Let's go. All right. Anyways, take it easy.